For more than a decade, the automotive industry has been moving toward what many believed was an inevitable destination: a fully electric future. Governments introduced ambitious emissions regulations, major manufacturers announced plans to phase out gasoline engines, and billions of dollars were poured into battery technology and EV production facilities. The message seemed impossible to ignore. Electric vehicles were no longer presented as one option among many. They were presented as the future itself. Yet while competitors rushed to build larger EV factories and launch new electric models, Toyota chose a very different path. The company continued investing heavily in hybrids, improving gasoline engine efficiency, and researching alternative technologies. Critics argued Toyota was falling behind. Investors questioned the company's strategy. And industry analysts warned that refusing to fully commit to EVs could be a costly mistake. But Toyota's leadership remained remarkably consistent. They believed the transition to a cleaner transportation future would be far more complicated than many experts predicted. Toyota's reasoning was based on a simple question: what if the world isn't ready for a complete shift to electric vehicles? While EV adoption has grown rapidly in some countries, Toyota pointed out that billions of people still live in regions where charging infrastructure remains limited or unreliable. For many drivers, owning an electric vehicle is not simply a matter of preference. It depends on access to charging stations, electricity prices, parking conditions, climate, and even local power grid stability. Toyota believed that forcing a one-size-fits-all solution on every market could create unintended consequences. Instead of focusing exclusively on EVs, the company argued that different regions would require different solutions. In some places, battery electric vehicles may dominate. In others, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, hydrogen technologies, or highly efficient combustion engines may remain important for many years. One of Toyota's most controversial arguments involved battery production itself. Electric vehicles require large lithium-ion battery packs containing significant amounts of raw materials such as lithium, nickel, cobalt, and graphite. As demand for EVs increased worldwide, competition for these materials intensified. Mining operations expanded, supply chains became more complex, and concerns about long-term availability started appearing across the industry. Toyota questioned whether concentrating large quantities of battery materials into a smaller number of EVs was always the most efficient way to reduce global emissions. Company executives argued that the same amount of battery material could potentially be distributed across multiple hybrid vehicles, allowing more drivers to reduce fuel consumption immediately rather than waiting for a complete EV transition. While many industry observers dismissed this argument at first, the discussion became increasingly relevant as battery costs, supply chain disruptions, and material shortages began affecting manufacturers around the world. At the same time, Toyota continued refining the technology that made the company famous: hybrid powertrains. Decades of research allowed Toyota engineers to create hybrid systems that delivered impressive fuel economy, lower emissions, and strong reliability. Unlike fully electric vehicles, hybrids offered familiar driving experiences without requiring charging infrastructure. Drivers could refuel in minutes, travel long distances, and enjoy reduced fuel consumption without worrying about range limitations. For millions of consumers, especially those living outside major urban centers, hybrids represented a practical middle ground between traditional gasoline vehicles and fully electric models. While EV adoption continued growing, hybrid sales also remained remarkably strong, particularly during periods when consumers became concerned about charging availability or vehicle affordability. Another issue Toyota frequently highlighted was affordability. The company believed cost would play a major role in determining how quickly consumers embraced new technologies. Although electric vehicle prices have gradually declined, many EV models still remain more expensive than comparable gasoline or hybrid vehicles. Rising interest rates, economic uncertainty, and inflation placed additional pressure on consumers' purchasing decisions. Toyota argued that a rapid transition to fully electric transportation could leave some buyers behind, particularly in developing economies where affordability remains a critical factor. By continuing to offer efficient hybrid vehicles alongside EVs, Toyota hoped to provide consumers with more flexibility while still reducing overall emissions. Over time, several developments began attracting attention to Toyota's strategy. Some automakers that had aggressively expanded EV production started adjusting their plans after demand failed to meet the most optimistic forecasts. Manufacturers delayed certain projects, scaled back production targets, and reevaluated long-term investment timelines. In several markets, consumers showed increasing interest in hybrid vehicles as a practical alternative to fully electric models. The industry's conversation gradually shifted from whether EVs would dominate the future to how quickly that transition could realistically occur. Suddenly, Toyota's cautious approach appeared less controversial than it once did. Toyota also continued investing in future technologies beyond conventional hybrids. The company expanded research into solid-state batteries, which many experts believe could significantly improve EV performance by offering faster charging times, greater energy density, and improved safety. Toyota executives repeatedly emphasized that they were not against electric vehicles. Instead, they argued that innovation should remain open to multiple solutions rather than focusing exclusively on one technology. Their goal was to create a diversified strategy capable of adapting to different markets, economic conditions, and consumer needs. This philosophy allowed Toyota to remain competitive across a wide range of regions while maintaining profitability. During periods of rapid industry change, as global competition intensified, Toyota's position became even more interesting. Chinese manufacturers expanded aggressively. Tesla continued pushing EV adoption forward, and governments introduced increasingly ambitious environmental targets. Yet, Toyota remained one of the world's largest and most profitable automakers. The company's ability to balance hybrid technology, traditional vehicles, emerging EV platforms, and advanced research projects gave it flexibility that many competitors lacked, while other manufacturers often found themselves heavily dependent on a single strategy. Toyota maintained multiple pathways toward future growth. Today, the debate surrounding electric vehicles is no longer as simple as it once appeared. The industry continues moving toward electrification, but the journey is proving more complex than many early forecasts suggested. Charging infrastructure expansion, battery supply chains, consumer affordability, government policies, and technological breakthroughs will all play important roles in determining what the future ultimately looks like. Toyota's decision to resist an immediate all-electric commitment may have seemed controversial years ago, but it has forced the industry to consider difficult questions about practicality, scalability, and long-term sustainability. Whether Toyota was completely right or not remains a matter of debate. But one thing is clear, the company refused to follow the crowd, and that decision continues shaping conversations across the global automotive industry today. Toyota's growing success with hybrids has also created a challenge for competitors that invested heavily in a single vision of the future. Companies that spent years telling consumers that gasoline engines were finished now face a market where many buyers are choosing hybrids instead of fully electric vehicles. In several regions, hybrid sales have grown faster than expected, driven by consumers who want better fuel economy without changing their driving habits. This trend has forced many manufacturers to rethink their product strategies. Some companies that previously announced aggressive EV-only plans are now extending the life of hybrid programs, investing in next-generation engines, or delaying the complete phase-out of combustion vehicles. In many ways, the market is moving closer to the balanced approach Toyota advocated from the beginning. What makes this story even more remarkable is that Toyota never positioned hybrids as a final destination. The company viewed them as a bridge, a practical technology capable of reducing emissions today while giving infrastructure, battery production, and renewable energy systems more time to develop. Toyota's executives often argued that reducing carbon emissions should be the primary goal, not promoting one specific technology. From their perspective, a mix of hybrids, plug-in hybrids, electric vehicles, hydrogen solutions, and advanced fuels could achieve environmental goals more effectively than relying on a single approach. While critics disagreed with this strategy, recent market developments have given Toyota's argument renewed credibility. The financial side of the equation has also played an important role. Building electric vehicles at scale requires enormous capital investments. New factories, battery plants, software development, charging partnerships, and supply chain agreements can cost billions of dollars.